Vicky Grub. Assieds-toi là-dessus. C'est ton desk. C'est ton desk.
So welcome to the Sit on This podcast.
Welcome.
We are
Thank
coming
you.
live today from the Furniture Component Show. Now, as upholsterers, the quality of the fillings, the frames, and the components we use are absolutely fundamental to the furniture that we produce.
We literally couldn't sit where we're sitting without them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But those materials come from a much bigger manufacturing ecosystem. And that's why Ray and I are really excited and honoured to be invited here today.
Yeah, look, we're not only excited and honoured, we thought we'd make a bit of an effort. So for this show, we've literally created a pair of podcast chairs, which it's a bit of a showcase for some of the components and the materials that go into upholstered furniture. That's why they look the way they look.
Sure.
Big shouts. We've got to give out some really big shouts.
That helped us create our podcast chairs.
Absolutely.
So massive shout out, as Ray puts it, to NKEV, who supplied the latex and the rubberized hair and the needle felt that went into the arms and the backs of these chairs.
Yeah, we've got to give a shout out to BEA.
Yeah, BEA for all the stapling.
The guns they've supplied us with have just been superb.
And our brilliant sponsors as well.
They're brilliant sponsors of our podcast. Who else? Merca.
Yeah.
If you've noticed the legs are a little bit unfinished, that's deliberate. Because basically Merca came in and they showed us some amazing tools.
Yeah, we were invited up to Merca in Milton Keynes. And we actually spent the day sanding the chair legs, which is really cool.
That was really good fun, yeah. And then let me think, who else? Of course.
House of Hackney.
House of Hackney. Big shout to House of Hackney.
Supplying us our fabric.
This is called Anaconda in teal.
Yeah.
I think it's a cotton velvet.
Yeah.
It's quite strong, feels lush.
Yeah.
I can fall asleep
we've
now.
also got foam in the chair, which is supplied by our sponsors, Martin's Upholstery Suppliers.
Yeah. And also foam in the arms as well. Supported by NKEV as well.
Yeah, we said that.
You can see we said all that. Anyway, you get the idea.
Anyway, today is not just about a podcast show.
No, it's not about us at all.
No.
It's about our guests.
It is about our guests. And today we are with Oliver from Tokyo Fabrics.
Hello, Oliver.
Hi there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Tokyo Fabrics is a family-run business and it's been around since the 70s, which I'm hoping you're going to tell us a bit more about in a minute.
Yeah.
And you used to do furnishing fabrics, but then you moved into upholstery fabrics, from what I can understand.
It was garment fabrics, I think, of the founder of the company. And then he moved into the upholstery side, upholstery fabrics.
And now you're international, you supply Europe.
So we're a global company. We're probably one of the biggest manufacturers and suppliers, stock holdings of upholstery fabric in Europe, UK and Europe, if not one of the biggest ones currently in the world.
So is it purely upholstery fabrics
We
you're
just
dealing
focus
with?
purely on upholstery fabric for chairs, sofas, the bed market.
Yeah.
It has transferred into curtains and that sort of
soft
element of
furnishings.
the soft furnishings. Yeah.
So tell us a bit about Tokyo Fabrics then.
So firstly, I think I have to start with Tarsim Sandhu. He is the founder and creator of Tokyo Fabrics. We've already touched on it's been set up since 1970s. And without him, this company wouldn't exist. Even now, today, he's still very active in the company.
Yeah.
His leadership, his knowledge, his day-to-day guidance is the very fabric and culture of the company. And, I'm speaking personally, he's given me a lot of guidance and direction and someone to lean on as well.
That's amazing. So it's a real sort of community environment,
it
where
is,
you work.
It's family run, and they treat me and the other employees like family.
Yeah,
really, and it's that tight knit.
Yeah,
that is probably one of our good success story, really.
So when you say your sales for fabrics across Europe, I mean, presumably, are you getting the fabrics made in the UK? Are they made abroad? How are you supplying? Tell us a bit about how the company works.
So like in terms of Tokyo Fabrics, we've got the whole vertical supply chain.
Yeah.
So, in simple terms, we manufacture our fabric in China.
Yeah.
Where we part own 6 mills in China. So we've invested in German machinery that goes into these mills. So we control the quality, the yarn and everything. And I say part own because of the fabric of the country and the way it's set up in terms of its government. You can't own it outright.
Yeah.
And then we ship that in to the UK, and then we coat it in the UK. So we're the biggest coaters in the UK and Europe, FR treating, and then we stock hold that. We've currently on the factory floor at the moment in the UK, we're holding about 30 million meters of stock.
So you're holding what? Sorry,
30 million meters of stock.
Wow.
So I'm presuming
13 million.
if you're
13
bringing
million
in that,
meters of stock.
Wow. If you're bringing that amount of fabric, so you're supplying top tier manufacturing. It's not for people like us in small workshops.
We supply everyone.
It reaches-
so
Oh, do you? Okay.
we are a volume based company.
Yeah.
Right.
But we supply the small upholsterer to
You do
the
as well.
largest furniture manufacturers.
Yeah.
We treat everyone as equal, really, so.
Yeah.
But you are right, we are volume based. We sell everything by the roll. We don't do cut lengths.
I've got a couple of questions. Sorry to cut across you, but I'm kind of excited by this. How do you manage and look after the quality of 13 million meters of fabric? How do you make sure that it's all top notch?
I think that goes into the whole vertical supply. So going on to the sort of infrastructure, it starts with the R&D and then sort of the development in China, where we sort of concentrate on the fabrics, and we try and sort of stay ahead of the curve, really, in terms of bringing out new fabrics. It's very rarely that when we bring out a fabric that a customer or manufacturer asks us to add a fabric range or a color. We're usually, hitting the money,
So are you looking at trends? Are you speaking to upholsterers? How does that research and design kind of formulate? Because as an upholsterer, I sometimes feel like I buy fabrics and the manufacturer hasn't really considered me as putting that fabric onto a piece of furniture.
Yeah, when you're developing fabrics, do you consider like the end use, like what an upholsterer does with it? I think
when we develop a new fabric range, we've got to create something that works across the entire market,
right?
And that's what we look at, really. Like I said, to be ahead of the curve, we generally give manufacturers and retailers what they're looking for, really. We sometimes do work closely with certain interior designers, whether they're associated to big companies or high in their field.
And what are big manufacturers looking for? Do they specify? Do they come to you and say, we are looking? I know you talked about ranges and designs and styles, but do they specify certain aspects of fabrics? Like Martindale, do they say it has to be this Martindale or
it's got to meet a certain
I
fire
think
rates?
That's just I think you have to meet those criteria anyway. Like
right,
Martindale,
okay.
rub testing.
Yeah.
FR's a big one, which I'll touch on in a minute.
Yeah.
These compliance, you have to meet those before. For us, when we're launching a new range, it's a major investment for us because we're doing it before a single customer is buying it. We are creating these ranges, we from development to production and stocking it. Typically a new range we launch could be between anything from like 12 to 14 colors in one range. Financially that investment can be 96,000 or 95,000, let's say, pounds for the low end, up to £250,000 for the larger ranges. So you can see the investment into just one range, depending on how many colours are in that range.
Sure.
And then if you think across the board, we've got over 100 ranges that we're stocking. So you can see the initial investment before it's even hit to market what we're laying down, we're confident that what we're bringing out, whether it's a velvet, a chenille, a textured, a boucle type, flat woven, we generally cover all those bases already.
And presumably you have like testing facilities for
we've got our own sort of, like I said, in China, our R&D. So anything that gets produced over there, whatever batch they send a A4 cutting over, or probably a meter cutting, that comes to our compliance, and then they scrutinise that, they match it against master copies. You know, we put it under sunlight lighting, you know, and we vet it really. And if we say no, then it doesn't get produced. And obviously, if it's yes, it starts rolling off the press, as they say.
Wow. So I think Ray and I would love to talk about FR. I know you just mentioned FR because it's a hot topic amongst upholsterers, with toxins on the fabrics and things like that. And obviously us handling the fabrics a lot, and also the fabrics going into people's homes. What's your opinion about our very strict fire retardant rules in the UK?
Yeah, so this is a big one, really. Obviously, I've told you we're probably one of the biggest coaters in UK, Europe, and kind of falling under this sort of sustainability. You know, it is a major topic across all sectors at the moment, and textiles is no exception. But at Tokyo, you know, we have looked at other ways. You know, as a company, we're looking at other ways, like solar panels on our UK facilities. We're reducing waste to landfill, you know. But within our coating process, we've got 3 stenter machines, or coating machines, that have stenter ovens. So we're looking into capturing that sort of heat and energy and steam that's lost from those to redirect it into, you know, heating our factories up, for example. So we're looking into technology in that sense. I am getting onto FR. I'm not delaying.
Okay. No, that's
and
fine.
then from a product perspective, we've got 3 or 4 lines that are recyclable fabrics, and we're looking to advance those ranges. But obviously, the important conversation happening in the industry right now is like the fire retardancy, and you know, some discussions have moved towards maybe like a greener FR, or potentially removing FR altogether.
Can I ask an awkward question at this stage? I'll talk.
In our view at Tokyo, we're very clear. Safety is number 1 priority for us. The UK furniture, as it sits at the moment, is a $40 billion industry, and it employs over 250,000 of people. So one of the reasons we have high standards is because of our fire retardant, you know, like in electrical market, like the kite mark and everything like that. They're there for a reason, you know.
Breeze safety.
So if those protections were suddenly removed, you know, we've got to be very careful. It would open up the market to global manufacturers producing the same product at lower costs, which could significantly damage our UK sector. So we have to be careful what we wish for in that sense.
So do you, as in you think that British manufacturing would almost disappear if we didn't have...
FR protects our industry 100%.
Really?
Well, that's a very strong point.
Because the global market struggle to meet the high standards that our laws have set in producing the FR. You know, so they find it hard to get into our market purely because of that. You know, a good analogy that I like to use is like in the automotive industry. You know, we've gone from basic braking to ABS to airbags to many other safety features. So, you know, if even though accidents are getting less, you know, we wouldn't remove seat belts because incidents are getting lower. So we just wouldn't do it, would we?
I think it does depend what you believe to be the prevention of that particular fire. From an upholstery point of view, I would say I would rather we didn't have the consequences of FR on our fabrics, you know, from an individual using them. I've not personally had this, but I have heard of people in the industry having peeling fingers.
I'd have to have a full blood test to
things like that.
Yeah,
so I think that something definitely needs to be done to reduce the toxins in fabrics in the UK.
I mean, we're forever evolving our FR because we're one of the market leaders in it. You know, when you mention certain toxins, there are things on the market that have been brought to market. I don't want to go too much into that. But there have been, you know, ours is tried and tested for 40 odd years now. You know, there's not one case of what you're suggesting, like peeling of hands or it's cancerous or anything like that. There's no recording.
There's no evidence
of it.
to suggest.
I think that's the key thing with this.
It's all
I think
like
more
hot
research
air at the moment.
More research needs to be done.
I mean, we're forever evolving. We're in the process of bringing out a new FR. It's still
excuse me, I don't mean to cut across you. When you say, Oliver, a new FR, like a new chemical treatment, or
it's probably a lesser chemical.
Okay.
Where we use less, but it has the same results. But that could be another conversation. You know, you know, we send our invitation. We're very sort of transparent at Tokyo. You know, and you know, Jag and Suk and us would like you to come over. You know, come and see it.
Yeah,
you know, because it is an education.
Sit on this.
Ray, I've got a confession to make. I once dated a tool.
Now, are we talking heartbreak or hardware?
Staple gun, my BEA. Honestly, it's been more reliable than most people I've ever worked with.
Oh, totally. Mine's taking a beating over the years. Still fires like day one. No jams, no weird noises, just solid work.
I use 71 Series 421 staple gun most days. But I've also got the long nose 436 for those awkward bits. You just know it's going to deliver clean staples every time.
And it doesn't wear arm out either, especially when you're working on a big frame or doing repeat jobs.
Powerful, reliable, and never goes to me mid-project. Legendary and dependable.
Bit like me, really.
Only difference is my BEA doesn't moan when I drop it.
Are we still talking about tools here? I've got feelings, you know.
So if you're tired of unreliable tools and dodgy knockoff staple guns and want to upgrade your kit, now's the time.
Head to the link in the show notes and you'll get 10% off your first purchase on guns and staples using the code SITONTHIS10.
BEA staple guns. Powerful, precise, and honestly a lot easier to live with than some of the tools I've known.
Staple smart, sit on that.
So for us really to conclude on the FR, you know, is to focus on improving it and involving fire retardant rather than removing it. You know, that way for us, it protects the consumer safety, which is number one, and the UK furniture industry, really. You know, things in the light of things like Grenfell Tower, you know, where the cladding, no fire retardant on the cladding, you know, in tragedies and likes of that, you know, we have to be very careful, you know.
Well, I just wanted to know what you thought is the future for Tokyo Fabrics and what would you like, I mean, what are your most popular fabrics at the moment, and what kind of directions
yeah,
you
that's
feel
a
you
good
wanna...
question. We have not asked the question.
I think, you know, there's various sort of areas like velvet, chenilles, boucle, teddy types. I think last year trending was sort of like the texture types.
Yeah. I noticed last year I was using a lot of boucles.
But boucles, the sort of other textures, maybe a bit more sort of commercial than boucle. I think we go on sort of colours, don't we? And it was all the sort of natural colours like the creams, the coffees, the minks. I think Bourneville's going to trend.
If I was to fly on your wall in your, like, I don't know, penthouse suite or wherever it is you live, I mean, what kind of fabrics might I see on your furniture?
In my house, I'm
just curious.
Well, unfortunately, I've got Italian leather currently sitting in mine. But obviously, since I've started working for Tokyo, I'd probably go for a textured chenille. I think something like that. Yeah. I think chenilles would come back. Or
that's funny. I've literally just specified one of those.
Like a teddy double crushed velvet. kind of feel.
Oh, crushed velvet.
Yeah,
Okay.
but this is different. You have to come and see ours. Yeah,
Okay.
It's not like the old crushed velvet.
Okay.
We haven't
but
had a
look,
chance to
I
come
think-
over yet to have a look at your stall, so we'll come over after.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely. I think, velvets are still very strong, chenilles.
Yeah.
Texture's doing well last year.
Do you sell or work with like cotton, velvet, and polyester?
No, so all our fabrics 100% polyester.
Oh, is it? Okay, cool.
We class things into velvet chenilles. We sort of mimic, like, we have a linen group, which,
Nice.
you probably hardly tell. It's the quality's that good, really.
I have to come and have a look. Thank you so much.
Please come
over.
Yeah,
over.
we will.
Please come over. Okay.
Thank you so much, Oliver, for
Yeah,
today.
thanks, Oliver.
No,
That's
thank you
been
for your
amazing.
time.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, who's our next guest? Who's our next victim?
Sit on this.
Hey, it's a massive roll you're hugging.
This fresh Hessian just arrived from Martin's Upholstery Supplies, and yes, I'm emotionally attached.
Well, that explains the grin. You do love a bit of 12 ounce.
Hey, don't knock it. It's the unsung hero. Holds my springs in place, neatens up my work, and smells like proper upholstery. I love the smell of 12 ounce in the morning.
Yeah, I actually ordered from Martin's last week. Foam, webbing, a few finishing bits. It all turned up in 2 days. No faff.
That's what I love. Whether you need a tin of glue or 10 metres of calico, it's all there, and it's all brilliant quality.
It's definitely my go-to for top-ups, especially when I realise I've run out of something mid-project.
Yeah, which is about every week.
Exactly. Martin saves me from full-blown panic attacks more times than I'd like to admit.
If you're setting up a workshop or just need the basics, Martin's has the lot. And as a special treat for our listeners, they're offering 5% discount on all foam and upholstery sundry orders. Just check the link in the show notes below and use the code SITONTHISMartins5 for your discount.
Martin's Upholstery Supplies. Solid, speedy, and always got your back.
Sit on that.
Now, I didn't actually know this existed. You supply upholstery kits for manufacturing.
Yes.
So if they've got like a frame, you supply all the kit to fill that frame
Yes.
in large quantities.
Yeah,
Is it
wow,
like
or
a
small.
molding? Is it like a molded foam, or is it?
No, we don't
like
mold. No. So
Right. Okay. So tell me about peak converters.
what a foam converter does.
Yeah. What are they?
Yeah, what is it? Because, some of my suppliers use the term foam conversion.
We should say foam and fibre, shouldn't we? Foam and
Foam
fibre
and
conversion.
fibre. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so we essentially take materials in their first form method manufactured. So for foam, it would be a large block, probably 2 by 3 meters, if you like.
Right. Okay.
Fibre would be in rolls or on sheets. And we essentially chop it up and glue it together and assemble it into a piece that can just be tacked around a wooden frame for a furniture. So an upholsterer will literally have a bag with a label on it saying this is your X sofa, whatever. And
Yeah.
they'll open it and each bit will be there labelled to go on the right bit.
To go on there. God, that would save a lot of time.
A lot of time.
Yeah. So presumably for manufacturing, that's what you're doing. You're actually saving time.
It's consistency as well. So
Yeah.
every piece is always exactly the same
Yeah.
each time.
Yes. Yeah. So presumably you're working for large manufacturers in the UK only, or is it across?
That's what we're trying to pitch today. Is
Right,
we
okay.
don't just supply to large manufacturers, we can supply
Okay.
to all upholsterers.
Okay.
And we
Okay.
do.
All right then.
We do.
You do. Okay.
Where are you based again?
Derbyshire.
Derbyshire.
Yeah. Peak converters, as in the
Oh,
peak.
what?
I don't
Peak
think-
has a lot, Peak and
The name,
blinders.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So tell us about smaller upholstery suppliers that you're doing. So is someone like me, I've got like a small studio, like why am I coming to you? What am I coming to you for?
We don't just do upholstery kits.
Okay.
We supply foam and fibre into all
Right,
sorts.
okay, yeah.
Not just furniture either.
Yeah.
But we can do quite bespoke runs. So our systems are built for both. We use the same systems, but you'll get consistency and accuracy in everything you order, whether you order 1,000 or 10.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same thing.
Yeah. And so presumably, because foam density is obviously very important. And actually, I don't know if this is just because I just never really investigated, but I only recently really found out how foam was made from looking at Instagram and seeing
Yeah.
people like create
Tipping
foam blocks.
strange, liquid chemicals into
Yeah.
a vat and allowing it to kind of cure and it
Like a loaf of
rise
bread.
like a
Yeah.
big loaf
Yeah.
of bread or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's incredible. How do you get a different density in foam?
Yeah, yeah.
What's What's the secret to that?
That's for a chemist to answer. I'm
right,
I'm not that guy. No, I'm not the manufacturer. I'm the converter.
Right. Okay.
But, so specific density, it's in the formulation of the foam.
Right. Okay.
There are people who could answer that far more technically than I can.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, when I buy that foam, there's a vast array, and it's based on two factors, which is density and hardness, which is formulated by the chemicals or the quantities of each chemical that goes into that foam.
Because I deal with like codes like RG50 or RX39.
Yeah.
What is
The 39 is the density.
39 is the density
it's
of
the
what? The
weight per meter cubed of the foam.
Oh, the weight per meter cubed.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I see that.
I've just.
I knew I came here to learn something new. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Weight per meter cubed.
Yeah, 39 kilos.
So
per meter cubed.
RG50 is 50 liters per meter cubed.
50 kilos.
50 kilos per meter cubed.
Yeah.
Crikey. Wow.
And the hardness is in newtons, and it's the amount it takes to compress a piece of foam, but I think it's to 40% of its original height.
Right.
In newtons.
Right. Wow.
But you can have the same density of foam in different hardness. So they'll feel very different, but they'll be the same weight.
Ah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, we couldn't talk about foam without talking about toxins, because that's a huge topic in upholstery, across the upholstery industry, from small-scale upholsterers to large-scale upholstering manufacturing. What's your opinion about the use of very stringent fire regulations in the UK and adding like lots of toxins to our foam compared to other countries?
Is it avoidable? Is it?
Well, it's a balance, isn't it? Keeping everybody safe from fire while balancing keeping everyone safe from toxins, but also providing comfort. And I think the UK regulations are decades old now, aren't they? And maybe it's time for a review. Yeah, it's still trying to keep people safe, because I mean, foam, if with no chemicals in it whatsoever, no fire retardant chemicals in it whatsoever, foam is highly flammable.
Okay,
Is that right?
Yeah.
Because it's made from...
Well, it's got air in it.
Petrochemical.
It's got oxygen in it for a start. It's got air
Yes.
within the foam.
Correct.
So it's got a perfect catalyst within it. So once it goes, unless it's got something to stop it.
So technically, and I'm just a humble upholsterer here, it's kind of impossible to make a piece of completely flame retardant
Well, you've got wood,
foam.
haven't you? Yeah.
Because the air inside literally is a combustion source, becomes a combustion source.
But with the chemicals, it's not as...
Do you look to other alternatives? Like, are you kind of thinking to the future and you're thinking maybe, okay, well, if the regulations are going to change around foam, like what else could I provide?
Always. But I mean, even the foam manufacturers, they are constantly working on alternatives. And they are while trying to make a cost-effective product as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there are already alternatives to it. You can have graphite
and we have
infused
some in
foam.
the arms of this. We have latex in the arms of this chair
Latex,
and
nice.
in the back.
But it is very
Foam on the
difficult
seat.
because foam is popular because of the cost. It is cheaper than any natural material you can use in a sofa, but it's also consistent and really comfortable.
Yeah.
So it'd be better if we could find an alternative chemical rather than
You'd have to
TCPP or
invent,
melamine.
it's almost like inventing a new element,
Yeah.
you know?
But they're constantly working on it.
Yeah.
Even a couple of days ago, I heard a manufacturer came to me and said, I've got this new fire retardant foam with less melamine, well, no melamine in it.
Yeah.
Melamine is the one that's just been added to the SVHC list in EU, but not in the UK yet.
Right,
So that's
okay.
currently top of the worry list, if you like.
Right, I see. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Has the foam construction changed since it was, put into furniture in the 60s and 70s? Has the formula for it changed?
Yes.
I mean, I know obviously the added chemicals, the FR, since those regulations come in, but how has it changed? I have no idea.
There has been lots of movements forwards in FR chemicals. So that's changed.
Okay.
Different formulations with that.
Different formulation. Like how? I didn't know that.
Again, I don't know the intricacies of it, but there's
I'm
such a
asking you
vast
like
array.
really chemist-related
No,
questions. So I'm sorry.
But we buy foam from all major UK suppliers, and
Yeah.
they've all got an array of different foams available.
Yeah.
And we found that some of them, when they are pitched, we come with this new foam, but it's 15% more cost. And when I go back to my customers with that extra cost, it tends to be
difficult to
we'll stick
justify.
with what we know. But,
Yeah.
So the options are there, but not quite within the same price bracket yet.
Yeah. And are manufacturers always just looking for the cheapest option, or are they looking? Do they come to you and say, "Okay, I need it at this price point, but I need it at this like density or this wear,
We get
how
both.
long this takes to wear?" Type
Yeah,
thing.
we get both. It depends who they're selling into and where they're trying to pitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, the big runners tend to be very, very tight margin, and But then you've also got the luxurious side of it,
Yes.
where okay, well, let's be extravagant with our materials and really engineer this cushion or this sofa, and some of those are very special.
Yeah.
Some of them completely foam free now.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Upholsterers upholstering like older pieces of furniture often notice that modern cushions tend to kind of break down quicker
Right.
than older. Is that like a fair perception, or are there other factors at play?
I'd say no. Things have changed since then. So I mentioned cost quite a bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a balance. So when you talk about foam density, the lower the density, the cheaper it is, because foam is bought by weight. So if you were to over-engineer a product and cost was no consideration whatsoever, you put a really heavy foam in it and it'll last for decades.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to meet a price point, then of course you're going to go with the lightest one you can find to try and meet that price point.
Mm-hmm.
And
Then you're
inevitably,
sacrificing durability.
you are. Also, let's say if a 30-stone guy is going to sit on it for every day for the next 20 years,
It's gonna have an
then a
effect.
29-kilo foam or 30-kilo foam is going to fail quick.
Yeah.
So it depends on the application as well. Plus, I mean, people these days, they are sitting more and they like a soft feel, which is different from what it used to be. So, of course, lower density is naturally going to be introduced. So I don't know. I don't think it's fair to say it's 100%, all the materials are worse. It's just the construction has changed, the application has changed.
That is interesting that you talk about trends and how people like to feel more cozy, more comfy, a softer feel. Because I was reading, I just randomly had this history book on upholsterers from like the 1800s, etc. And
Randomly.
they really did used to sit on like bricks, it was really, that's what you had to sit on, and you were very upright.
They were more
weren't you?
robust people back then. Like, they ate
But it was
real
like
food.
you weren't
and-
sitting for long, were you? You weren't
No.
sitting for long.
No, exactly.
So that's interesting. And what has that been in the last? Have you actually seen that in your experience since you're working in your working life?
Yeah.
As trends change, like
the foam that goes into cushions is getting heavier
Okay.
because of more failures due to people sitting more
Yeah.
on softer furniture.
yeah.
So that has changed in the last 5 years.
Wow. That's amazing. What else?
I think from a more from an upholstery point of view, I have really only in my lifetime worked with things like rubberized hair and foam. And I feel like there is definitely this sustainability move forward amongst upholsterers,
Definitely.
small scale upholsterers, but I'm hoping that it's filtering through to large scale manufacturers. So I know we've talked a little bit about the changes that might happen, the trends and things like that. But I think from my own personal point of view, I would like to see some developments in foam where they are sort of a little bit cheaper than they currently are. The alternatives to foam are very expensive, and to actually then push that onto the client is not always, viable because you're having to add so much to your quotation for it.
It's tricky because the things to consider with foam, it's not just about the firmness and the fire regs, but there's also light fastness as well. Because if I get that right, correct me if I'm wrong, foam degrades under ultraviolet light. So
It doesn't degrade, it
Doesn't
just
it?
changes colour.
it changes color because the chemical composition reacts to ultraviolet light. Is that correct?
I say so, but within a sofa, it doesn't really matter, does it? When you
Well,
It's
kind
covered
of
in
does
fabric.
over time, because when I've stripped a piece of furniture and a mid-century piece, for instance, and the foam hasn't never been changed, and over time that foam is
it's orange,
degraded
yeah,
to a point where it becomes powder.
But is that not the
That's,
technology? Like,
I'm
'cause
saying,
when you
saying
take
with the development of chemically modified high resilience foam,
yeah.
has there been developments in the reaction to ultraviolet light and the way that affects the chemical composition of foam? I don't know if
there
I'm
must have
asking
been,
the right
because I don't
question.
know of anything in modern foam has only the color of the foam is really affected by UV.
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
that, but the reason why that foam changes color is because of the. Please correct me
You're
if I'm
teaching me
wrong.
something now.
The reason why the foam changes
I
color.
mean,
is
you've always
because-
said that to me, but I didn't,
Yeah, because
I
that's
didn't
what
know
I
that
was
before
taught.
I met you.
That's what I was taught on the stage one of my course. But
Okay.
the ultraviolet light permeates the whole planet, affects everything, goes down, and it changes the chemical composition of foam. So eventually, the foam,
It
it
starts
starts to
to
degrade,
break up,
and
yeah.
it breaks up, and then becomes like a toxic powder. But changing the fire eggs or changing the chemical composition of foam to address the fire eggs is one thing, but also you have to change something about the composition of foam in order for it to resist the damage to it by ultraviolet light. So it's a big
You might be talking about over a really extended long period of time. I mean,
like 10,
decades and
10,
decades.
10 years or
Yeah.
15 years.
But it's not something I've experienced.
No. Wow. Okay.
Is wood modern foam disintegrate in the same way? Like, if the foam that I'm putting in sofas today, in 30 years, will it crumble in the same way as
I don't
foam
believe
does?
so. No.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to stick around forever then.
No,
that the thing?
does it do the same? Because we've talked about the changes in the technology in
Yeah.
the composition of foam. And so I was just asking, in the future, will foam disintegrate in the same way?
Yeah.
And also, moving on from that and thinking more about sustainability.
I was going to ask
and
Mike, what kind of things moving forward are peak converters going to be focusing on with their business and the way they manage foam?
yeah, because can I just interject on that? Sorry, I know
Right,
I
please
wouldn't normally
do.
do this, but I think it comes back to that sustainability question of like landfill and like lots of foam going to landfill. So
Right.
presumably, moving forward, you're going to be thinking more about.
Well, we do. We won our sustainability award last year, so we're always focusing on
Oh, you did,
sustainability.
and
yeah.
tell me about that.
Well, we had a big solar array fitted, so we're shouting about that. So we kind of our factory runs
You've
itself
erected a solar array
on our roof. Yeah,
on your roof
yeah,
of the
so-
whole
Yeah.
factory.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that doesn't kind of deal with the actual.
No, but I was coming to that
Waste.
bit. Yeah. So a converter's job is to be as efficient with the materials as possible. So what makes us a converter is we minimize waste of everything we buy. So we don't actually landfill any of our offcuts. Most converters don't. They sell it back to the manufacturer, who then convert it into recon foam or underlay or other things like that. But none of it goes into landfill.
Yeah.
Same with the fibers. We try and get as efficient as possible with our sheets. So we use nesting software, we use efficient production systems, and any offcuts that we do have, we sell back to our fiber suppliers, who then repurpose it back into more fiber. So from that respect, there is no...
Yeah.
Do you work with
Landfill
upholsterers in your area who have offcuts that they can bring back to you?
We're allowed to bring back our offcut. So if it's our product we sell into them and they've got excess, then yes, we'll bring that back.
Yeah.
But
Oh, wow, really?
that's to do with transportation laws rather than...
That would be
preference.
amazing. I'd never even thought about asking my foam supplier if he would take back my waste foam. That's such a great
I don't know whether
initiative.
yours would, but if we supplied you, we definitely
yeah,
would.
but that's a great initiative because like so much of my offcut foam
That would close a lot
into-
of. That would be brilliant
yeah,
if
into
a
the
lot of
waste
suppliers
system.
followed that kind of lead as well and did that.
Yeah, that would be incredible because then you could, as you say, make it into recon foam.
Well, we can't make if it provides offcuts that haven't been in a sofa
Yeah.
and been sold out, then yes, we can make that into recon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what I'm thinking of is like I teach upholstery, and you have like lots of little, sometimes my students aren't very efficient at cutting the foam. You have lots of offcuts, and I'm chopping that up and putting it in my trade waste bins. It's like there's a lot of
I don't do
expense with that, and also it's so bad for the environment.
It is, yeah. Well, there's other things going on. I mean, foam manufacturers are dabbling with various different things. So biopolyols, for example, and recycled.
Sorry, what was that? Bio?
So polyol is one of the chemicals that goes in to make foam.
Okay.
So now manufacturers such as Vita are using plant-based polyols, so non-chemical polyols. Same with recycled polyols as well. They're figuring out a way to take old mattresses, reduce it to the original chemical, and then reuse that chemical in new foam, which again is a great sustainable option.
Wow.
And that's currently available.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I need to go round to the furniture component show today,
Next door.
and start and have a because last year when we were here, I think that's what we really liked about furniture component show, because we were looking at the things that were going to be happening in the future, all these technologies that were going to be changing, and
Does it go into the very piece of furniture that you're sitting on?
Eventually coming down, feeding down into our workshops, and certainly around the sustainability. I'd really be interested to see who's here today and looking at initiatives,
Fiber's another one as well. I mean, fiber's being used more and more within furniture.
When you mean fiber, like coir fiber or...
Well, it's still synthetic fibers, but it's created from recycling plastic bottles or repurposing plastic bottles.
Yeah.
So we have a counter in our factory that's on constantly, which is every time we process a sheet of fiber for use in furniture, the counter knows that there's 7 plastic bottles have been repurposed. So it keeps going up, and we hit something like 1 million last year.
Wow!
So
that's cool. So that you
one of
have
our
a little
things.
counter.
Yeah.
And so this fibre, what are people using it for? Because I don't think I've ever used that. Like
it can be used on arm tacking here, or a back platform,
like a sort of. Is it like a? What do you mean, like a tack?
Foam replacement.
It's a foam replacement.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. I shall come and have a look.
Yeah. We have it all on our stand.
Okay.
Mike, it's been an educational. It's been amazing.
Likewise.
Thank you so much for popping by today and chatting on our podcast.
No problem.
It'll be available on YouTube soon. So this has been the Sit on This podcast from the Furniture Component Show.
Sit on this